It's always something special when we're back to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, especially during the playoffs, where every possession, every decision, every little detail can make or break a season. And today, the atmosphere around this team is tense. Not just because they're facing a daunting 3-1 deficit against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but because something unexpected is happening behind the scenes. A shift in the storyline, a possible lifeline. And believe it or not, it centers around a name that most fans had long forgotten, Maxi Cleber. For weeks, the focus has been squarely on LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and the struggles of this top-heavy Lakers team to get past one of the most complete squads in the Western Conference. But beneath that spotlight, a quieter narrative is unfolding, one that could become the turning point if the cards fall just right. Maxi Cleber, the big man acquired in that mid-season trade from Dallas, might finally make his long-awaited debut in a Lakers jersey. And while that might not sound like a game-changer on paper, given the state of this team, it could be exactly what they need to flip the script. Let's take a step back. The Lakers have looked depleted. The fourth game was a perfect example of that desperation. In a move that shocked everyone watching, the head coach didn't make a single substitution during the entire second half. That's right. LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Dorian Finney-Smith played every single minute of the last two quarters. No rest, no rotation, just survival. And it wasn't about asserting dominance. It was a cry for help, a message loud and clear. I don't trust anyone else on this roster. And can we really blame him? The bench has been non-existent throughout this series. Injuries, inconsistency, and poor matchups have made it nearly impossible for the coaching staff to rely on their role players. The team is gasping for support, for a spark, for someone, anyone, to give them something off the bench. Enter Maxi Cleber. Up until now, Cleber has been a non-factor. A foot surgery shortly after arriving in Los Angeles sidelined him indefinitely. For weeks, there wasn't a single update. No timeline, no hints, just silence. But recently, something changed. The latest injury report didn't list him as out. Instead, his status was upgraded to doubtful. That's huge. Doubtful doesn't mean he'll play, but it means there's a chance. And for a Lakers team that's run out of bodies, even the hint of a chance was enough to reignite the buzz. The question now is simple. If he's cleared, does the coach put him in? On the surface, it seems risky. He hasn't played in months. He hasn't built chemistry with this squad. His conditioning is a complete unknown. But dig a little deeper, and there's precedent. Just last year, in Dallas, Cleber returned from a playoff injury in almost identical circumstances. After missing an entire series against the Clippers, he came back late in the Western Conference Finals against, you guessed it, the Timberwolves. In Games 4 and 5, he played just 23 total minutes. And yet, Dallas outscored Minnesota by 10 points with Cleber on the floor. That may not sound like much, but in the playoffs, those margins matter. Every single minute matters. Maxi Cleber isn't flashy. He's not going to drop 25 or lock up Anthony Edwards one-on-one. But what he does bring is space. Intelligence. A veteran presence who understands defensive rotations and can knock down a corner three when it matters most. That's what this team needs desperately right now. Not another ball-dominant star. Not a scorer who needs touches. They need someone who can complement the guys already carrying the load. LeBron and Luka can't do it all. They're exhausted. LeBron's about to turn 40. Luka's playing through nagging injuries. They need help. And maybe, just maybe, Cleber can be that guy. Even if it's just 10 minutes. Even if he only hits 2 threes or makes a key defensive stop. That can swing a game. That can push this to a game 6. That can start something. What's telling is who didn't play in Game 4. Jared Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes, Spencer Dinwiddie. These are names that should have been part of the rotation. But the coach didn't even look their way. That says everything. He's lost confidence in the bench. And honestly, it's hard to argue with him. The Lakers' bench has been outscored by almost 30 points per game in this series. That's not just a weak link, that's a liability. So if Cleber is even remotely ready, he has to be considered. The fans feel it. The analysts are buzzing. The coaching staff is weighing the risks. And it's worth asking, how do we get here? How is it that, in the most critical moment of the season, the potential savior is someone who hasn't played a single minute all year? Shouldn't there be more dependable options? Shouldn't the team have more depth? These questions don't just apply to this series. They reflect broader concerns about the organization, about roster construction, about the future. But before we look ahead to trades and free agency, there's still a game to be played. Game 5. At home. One more shot to keep the season alive. And the return of Maxi Cleber, as strange as it sounds, might be the X factor. Because sometimes that's all it takes. One new face. One unexpected contribution. One spark. If he checks into the game and hits a shot early, the crowd is going to erupt. The energy in the building will change. Suddenly, the Lakers won't look so lifeless. Suddenly, they'll have belief, hope, momentum. That's what playoff basketball is about. Not just talent, but timing. Not just stars, but stories. And this could be a story worth remembering. A veteran who had been forgotten. A player who came back when no one expected it. A guy who made just enough of a difference to tip the balance. This isn't to say that Cleber will win the game single-handedly. That's unrealistic. The odds are still steep. Teams down 3-1 rarely come back. Minnesota has been dominant, physical, disciplined, confident. But that confidence can crack, especially if the Lakers land the first punch in Game 5. Especially if they look refreshed, revived, reinvented. Cleber could help make that happen. His presence alone changes the spacing, forces defenders to rotate differently, pulls shot blockers away from the paint. That opens driving lanes for Luka, for Reeves, for LeBron. It makes the offense flow. And defensively, he gives them someone who can switch, help on pick and rolls, and hold his ground inside. His height, 6'10", matters. His experience matters. And even if his minutes are limited, they can be impactful. This is playoff basketball. Every second counts. And let's not ignore the psychological element. The Lakers looked deflated in Game 4. Tired, frustrated, worn down. Adding a fresh face to the rotation can be a jolt of energy. It's a signal to the team that help is coming, that someone new is stepping in to share the load. That maybe, just maybe, they're not done yet. And that's a powerful message. To the team, to the fans, to the Timberwolves. Because Minnesota has looked comfortable so far. Confident, but they've never been in this position before. Not really. They haven't faced this kind of pressure, this kind of moment. If the Lakers can punch back in Game 5, how will they respond? Will nerves start to show? Will inexperience begin to creep in? The Lakers have the chance to find out. They have the chance to rewrite the momentum, to plant seeds of doubt, to start a new narrative. And Cleber could be part of that. There's a beauty in that idea. That maybe the overlooked guy, the one who's been rehabbing in the shadows, could come in and swing a playoff series. That's what makes this sport so compelling. Because it's not always the biggest name that defines the moment. Sometimes it's the guy no one saw coming. The media loves those stories. Fans eat them up, and players live for them. That's why the risk might be worth it. Because if Maxi Cleber checks in a Game 5 and does something, anything, that changes the game, the headlines write themselves. The crowd gets behind it. The team rallies. The energy shifts. And even if he doesn't play a single minute, just knowing he's available could have an impact. It adds uncertainty for the Timberwolves. It gives the coaching staff one more card to play, one more wrinkle to throw into the game plan. That's the value of depth. That's the value of unpredictability. Because when you're down 3-1 in a playoff series, predictability becomes your worst enemy. The opponent has already adjusted to your schemes. They've seen your best punches and absorbed them. They know your rotations, your sets, your habits. The only way to shake that up is with the unexpected. And Maxi Cleber, his return, his minutes, his presence, is exactly that. He forces Minnesota to reconsider matchups. He stretches the floor in ways the Lakers haven't been able to this entire series. He can pull a rim protector out to the corner, shift defensive attention, and force breakdowns. Even if he's not scoring, the gravity he brings with his shooting forces defenders to stay honest. That alone creates opportunities, driving lanes, swing passes, rotations that might arrive a second too late. And that's all it takes. 1 second, one slip, One moment of hesitation. This is what playoff basketball thrives on, the margins. And sometimes, it's not the superstars who decide those margins. It's the role players, the guys who don't need the ball to make an impact, the guys who move the defense just by standing in the right spot, the guys who communicate, rotate, and box out. That's Cleber. He's not a game breaker, but he's a game tilter. And that's what the Lakers are starving for right now. Beyond the tactics, beyond the analytics, there's something emotional at play here. The Lakers' locker room, after Game 4, looked like a team that had hit a wall. Exhaustion written across every face. Shoulders slumped. Eyes blank. These are not just athletes. They're humans under extreme pressure. And when you keep running the same 5 guys out there with no relief, the mental toll is just as brutal as the physical one. Adding Cleber isn't just about basketball. It's about morale. It's about changing the conversation, giving the team something new to believe in, a reason to rally. A fresh face in the rotation tells the others, we're not done trying. We still have fight left. And in a playoff series, sometimes that belief is more valuable than any box score stat. Let's be real. No one outside of that locker room expects the Lakers to come back from this. The national media has all but moved on. The Timberwolves are being crowned. But sports have a funny way of humbling those narratives. Because momentum is fragile. One game can flip everything. A single moment can stir doubt in a team that looked untouchable just days before. And once doubt creeps in, anything becomes possible. Minnesota has been playing confidently, but comfortably. And that's dangerous for them, because comfort breeds complacency. The Lakers? They're backed into a corner. And when teams are desperate, they become unpredictable. They start taking chances. And sometimes those chances hit. Cleber is one of those chances. He's not just a substitution. He's a variable, a disruption, something Minnesota hasn't had a plan for. Their scouting report doesn't cover him. Their rotations aren't built to defend him. If he sees the floor, even for a few possessions, it throws off the rhythm. It makes them adjust. And that slight adjustment, that hesitation, that's where the opening lies. Let's talk about legacy, because this is what makes playoff stories unforgettable. It's not just the stars adding another chapter to their legend. It's the surprise twists. The role player who steps in from nowhere and shifts the course. If Cleber contributes to a Lakers win, even in a small way, he becomes part of that lore. He goes from forgotten to featured, from sidelined to spotlighted. And make no mistake, he's ready. Teammates from Dallas always praised his professionalism, his preparation, his quiet toughness. He's not the loudest guy in the gym, but he's always tuned in, always locked in. If he says he's ready to play, he means it. And in a moment like this, you want players who don't just show up physically, but mentally. Guys who visualize this. Guys who understand the gravity of the moment and don't shy away from it. That's the beauty of the playoffs. The pressure doesn't just expose players, it reveals them. And Maxi Cleber, if given the opportunity, has a chance to be revealed as something more than a forgotten trade piece. He has a chance to be the spark this team desperately needs. And it's not just about him, either. His inclusion changes the vibe for everyone else. If he hits a shot early, the crowd roars. The bench comes alive. LeBron gets that extra step. Luka feeds off the energy. It's contagious. One moment of success can cascade across the roster. Suddenly, Reeves finds his rhythm. Rui starts attacking more aggressively. The bench believes again. That's what playoff moments do. They breathe life into teams that looked like they were running on fumes. They offer a second wind. And sometimes, all it takes is one new piece to start that chain reaction. So why not? Why not throw the unexpected into the mix? Why not lean into chaos and force Minnesota to adjust? Why not believe that a guy who's been on the sidelines all year has been preparing for this exact moment? It's not about being the hero. It's about being ready when your number is called. And right now, that number might be Maxi Cleber's. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, in a surprising turn of events, the NBA confirmed that the 5th game of the playoff series between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers will be canceled. This decision comes after several logistical challenges and unforeseen circumstances that have complicated the scheduling of the game, leaving fans and analysts puzzled. The game, which was initially scheduled to take place at the Target Center in Minneapolis, was set to be a pivotal match in what has already been an intense and closely contested series. The cancellation follows reports of difficulties in securing adequate facilities due to ongoing issues with the arena, which had to undergo emergency repairs. Furthermore, both teams have been dealing with player injuries and travel disruptions, making it increasingly difficult to ensure a fair and competitive matchup. While the league has not gone into specifics about the nature of these challenges, it is clear that the decision was made with the long-term health and safety of the players in mind. Fans were quick to react to the announcement, with mixed feelings. Some expressed frustration, as the matchup between the Timberwolves and Lakers had been highly anticipated. The two teams have been delivering thrilling performances, and the potential for another classic playoff showdown was something fans had eagerly been looking forward to. On the other hand, others understood the necessity of prioritizing the health of the players and the integrity of the game, especially in light of recent incidents involving player safety. For both teams, the cancellation brings about an unusual situation. The Timberwolves, who had been aiming to regain momentum after a disappointing stretch in the series, were hoping to build on the energy of a crucial Game 4 victory. Meanwhile, the Lakers, with their seasoned roster led by LeBron James, were determined to close out the series and advance to the next round. Now, the delay leaves both teams in limbo, uncertain about how to proceed. As the league scrambles to come up with a solution, it remains to be seen whether the game will be rescheduled or if the series will move forward under a different format. What is certain, however, is that the cancellation has thrown a wrench into the playoff picture, adding an unexpected twist to an already unpredictable postseason. With the basketball world watching closely, all eyes will be on the NBA to see how they navigate this unprecedented situation and what the future holds for the Timberwolves, Lakers, and the rest of the teams vying for championship glory. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.